Welcome to my bathroom transformation. We fully gutted this bathroom, so I wanted to show you the whole process. We started out with this pink peach suite, lino on the floors and fully tiled walls. There was also a bidet, which was an interesting addition. So the first thing we knew we needed to do was take out everything. We just wanted to fully gut the whole of the bathroom. So this was the boiler cupboard. So we took the boiler out and then we started dismantling the boiler cupboard, which was a process. There was just lots and lots of wood, so it took a lot of sawing, as you can see. The next thing we need to do after we'd taken the boiler cupboard out was take the tiles off the wall. So here's the space where the boiler used to be, and as you can see, we've started taking all of the tiles off the wall, which was an interesting process. Some of them came off really easily and some of them were really tough to get off. As you can see at this point, the wall finished where the bath was. Now we ended up pushing this wall out, so we knocked that whole wall out and took it back to the same size as the boiler cupboard. That way the shower would fit where the boiler cupboard used to be. So we knocked that wall out where the bath used to be and basically made the bathroom a little bit bigger and the guest bedroom a little bit smaller. So after we had taken that wall out, we took the rest of the tiles off the walls, and at this point we needed to take the toilet out and take everything else off the walls because the plasterboarding was going to take place after they built back up that wall. As you can see, that's where there was a little wardrobe in the guest bedroom that was no longer there. The lower half of the bathroom wall did have some plaster left over on it, which we thought we might be able to save, but the builder told us that it wasn't good enough quality. So after that, we stripped all of the plaster off to take it right back to the brick. As you can see, all of the walls now were back to brick, and we started plasterboarding the whole of the bathroom out. Then they just took some time to plasterboard everything, basically. This is where the shower was going to go on the right-hand side there, and then just after this, we took the toilet and the sink out. So all of this brick got covered with plasterboard and then it got plastered up. So this is what the plasterboard looked like before we plastered over it. Luckily, we didn't have to plaster where we tiled. So as you can see on the left-hand side here, there is plaster, but where there is the blue wall, that is the plasterboard, because you're not supposed to tile onto plaster. You can actually just tile directly onto plasterboard if it's been primed. There was a bit of a miscommunication, and that's why this wall with the window did get plastered, but these other two walls didn't get plastered, and I set to with tiling. I had never done any tiling before. Some people were a little bit surprised that I said that I was going to tile the bathroom myself, but I just watched a lot of videos and really took my time. Luckily, the measurements of this wall that I started on meant that I didn't have to cut any of these tiles. So these tiles actually fit perfectly on the back wall, which at the time I didn't intend for. It was just a very happy coincidence. So as long as you take your time and use the correct spaces and make sure that you use a spirit level to ensure that the tiles are level and aren't going to be crooked, it's totally fine. I actually found it really therapeutic, just getting in the zone. Of course, there were things that I learned as I went on, but I do believe that practice makes perfect, and we're definitely not perfect, but I really enjoyed the practice. As I was saying earlier about the accidental plaster on the window wall, I concentrated on doing these two walls of tiling and grouting and had to leave the third one to dry out for a week or so. So I moved on to grouting after I'd done these two walls, and I really enjoyed this process. I mixed way too much grout when I first started. I didn't realise how little grout you needed compared to the adhesive, which when I say it now is fairly obvious, but at the time I just didn't really think. And this was again something that I just watched on YouTube. I didn't really know how to do it, but it was fairly fairly easy. I'd picked out all of the spaces between the tiles after the adhesive had set, so I waited, I think I waited 24 hours and did the grouting the next day so that everything had set in place and the spaces wouldn't, you know, move the tiles around. And then, yeah, fairly self-explanatory. Once the grouting has dried, it leaves this sort of funny film because you're not supposed to wipe it straight away. So it left this film all over the tiles, and then after that you go in with a damp cloth and wipe it all off. And I think that's the sort of final reveal that I found really satisfying. So once I'd done the one wall, I moved on to the next one and just wiped it all off, and it was very satisfying. And I just had to wait for the next wall plaster to dry and then primed it like I did with the plasterboard and did the final wall. At this point, the shower tray had been installed by the plumbers, which was fairly obvious. As I was waiting for the plaster to dry on the final wall, I started out doing all of the measuring and cutting of the tiles. My builder very kindly lent me his tile cutter, which I was a little bit scared to use at first, but then sort of found my way with it. So this final wall with the window took quite a lot more time because obviously there was many different sizes of tiles necessary. It also wasn't a straight wall, and I had to cut almost all of the tiles. I had to cut them. So this was something that required a lot of measuring, and measure twice, cut once is something that was really important because tiles are expensive. I haven't talked about tile trim at all, which you will see in a second. In hindsight, I don't think I did as much trim as I probably should. On this left hand side of the tiles there, I probably should have put trim there instead of grouting it, but that's just, you know, something that you learn as you go. I just put the trim around the inside of the windowsill, and we were pretty much done at this point with all of the tiling after I'd wiped off the last bit of grout, and then I just had to paint the other walls white and we were done. Here is the final bathroom. The floor is just a wood effect vinyl bathroom flooring. I've got my washing basket there on the left, a huge mirror to make it seem bigger, and every wall that doesn't have tiles on I painted white. I just wanted white, light, bright. Then we have matching sink and toilet with splashback, which is the same as all of the tiling. And I think to say that I've never done tiling before, I think I did a pretty good job. And the shower is huge. I feel like I'm in a hotel every time I have a shower. I didn't want a bath because I never ever have baths, and I didn't want to be stepping over one every day. And that's really where we're at. I'm so glad that this has gone well. I love the bathroom now. I hope you've enjoyed this transformation, and I filmed every other room in the house as well, so keep your eye out for some more room transformation videos. Thanks for watching!